Good morning, everybody, and thank you for attending. Before starting my presentation this morning, allow me to ask you a question. What would you do if you were about to start a new project in a new area? Let's say an example here, Asia, as you can see. I would say you would start by doing some researches about the area, maybe. So if we compare Asia to Europe, we found that Asia is 67% bigger than 67% of the world population compared to 10% in Europe. Asia is 4 times bigger than Europe, and there are at least 2,300 spoken languages in Asia against only 200 in Europe. You might be wondering what does this have to do with my presentation today. Today, I am Montassar Tabben. I have been working for more than 4 years with the ASPREF department in injury and surveillance epidemiology. And today, on behalf of all the AFC surveillance group, I'm going to talk about the first Asian continental injury and illness surveillance program, a project that has challenged all the barriers that could exist in a beautiful and a big continent like Asia. So I have no conflict of interest, and I'm going to highlight the importance of this program and present for the first time the Asian injury and illness epidemiology benchmarks in professional football, comparing it to UEFA. As you might know, the only existing program about injury and epidemiology is the UEFA Elite Club led by Dr. Yannick Strand. Why these projects are important? Why we are going today about this? And but please, first listen carefully to the word of Professor Yannick Strand in 2016 while he was presenting the UEFA Elite Club here at Aspetar.
Find Aspetar to be the leading sports clinic in the world. However, every leading organization will be scrutinized and will have to show facts. And this is an advice we have from the advisory board that it's very important now that Aspetar shows in facts and benchmark figures and in statistics and data that Aspetar is world leading.
So it's every leading organization has to share facts, and it's very important that Aspetar shares facts and benchmark and statistics, which is it's world leading. So this was 5 years ago. Professor Yannick Strand, the founder of the UEFA study and Aspetar former CMO award. At that time, the AFC injury and illness project was already under planning by Dr. Cristiano, who got this idea, and gets supported by Dr. Hakim Shalabi, whom gets supported by the former Aspetar DJ, Dr. Aitha Kuweri, and then Aspetar and AFC management have continued supporting and pushing this project. And after 4 years, this project is no longer just an idea, but a reality. So why is it really important for the clubs? First of all, the first priority, as you might know, is the players' health for the club. So I mean, the first priority after performance is the player health. I'm just joking. So the health of the player is also important for the team, because keeping the players on pitch is the only way of winning a game. We cannot win a game if the players they are not available for training and matches. Especially that injury is the most reason for unavailability at the elite level. In addition to that, injuries cost money, and it cost a lot of money based on Mr. Sergey, the CEO of Shakhtar Donetsk. If only a lineup player in the UEFA Champions League team is injured for 1 month, it costs the club up to 600,000 euro. So there is only way is to prevent injury. How we can help the clubs preventing injuries? Following the famous Van Mechelen model 1992, we can't introduce any preventive measure without establishing the extent of the sports injury problem, as well as the etiology and the injury mechanism. And this can't be done without data collection. So our role here is to help the teams collecting their own data and help them to visualize the outcome, an outcome that they will interpret themselves later on. Let's focus on these two steps first that can't be achieved without a good data collection. We collect exposure, training and matches from one hand, and injury and illness on the other hand, only time loss. So the AFC surveillance uses standardized tools according to the international consensus of Fuller 2006. For that, we have created a study manual explaining all the features and definition and the practical elements of our data collection. And here is the injury card. So we collect the date of injury, the date of return of full participation, the injured body part, the injury site, type of injury, the re-injury data if available, the onset, injury mechanism, and so on. We collect also illnesses, so we collect the date of illness, the affected system, the symptoms, the causes of illnesses. To collect all these data, we use Excel files that we have customized for the needs of the end users, and that includes automated features, easy to use, like clickable menus and so on, to collect the injury and illnesses. We collect also using Excel the individual exposure. So the exposure by player on a daily basis. Then we can have the time of each player that has trained or played in matches. Why exposure is really important? Let's take an example. We have two teams, Team A and Team B. They have both 30 injuries. We can see that it's equal, but in fact, the two teams, they don't train at the same level. They don't train equally. So different exposure. Let's take here, for example, 4,000 hours for the Team A and 6,000 for the Team B. And if we calculate the incidence, which is the number of injuries divided by the exposure multiplied by 1,000 hours, we can see clearly here that the incidence is not equal. The burden also is important. The burden is about the severity of the injury. So let's say 30 injuries cost the first team 150 days lost, and other team 400 days lost. So if we calculate the burden, which is the number of days lost divided by the exposure by multiplied by 1,000 hours, we can see also that it's not equal. About the data acquisition, the medical team fill the data and then send it to us on a monthly basis. So here how it looks, the player list with the characteristic of the player, a screenshot on the injury card, the illnesses, the training exposure, the match exposure. So here is only for 1 month for one team. We check this data on a daily basis because it's really important to have good data quality. So for example, do the exposure and the injury card matches together? Is there any missing information? Is there any not clear diagnosis and so on? We can also fix the Excel errors. As you see here, the ref, they are all errors because unfortunately Excel is not perfect for this kind of data collection, and we wish to have a specialized software for this. And it's really time consuming checking the data, ensuring a high standard quality control. Once we do this, we send back our feedback to the club on a monthly basis. For the data structuring, once the data is collected once a season, at the end of the season, we gather all the team data anonymously on one system. You can guess that for such a big data, using Excel it will take forever, but also it will generate many errors. So for that, we use the most powerful and the recent software for structuring our data. And here how it looks, this software. If you take a look at this octopus, it takes a lot of time to connect all the data together and generate our outcomes and calculate our variables. And for this, I would like to take a time to thank Dr. Rod Whiteley, from whom I have learned a lot. And this is one of the biggest chance to belong to this fantastic hospital family. We learn from each other, and I think we have the best from all over the world. Once the data is structured, we use also another software to visualize all the data and ensure a high quality of our report. So why the club keeps sending their data, why they take the time and send us the data? The first benefit is that they can visualize their own scores on a monthly basis. As you can see, they have the total exposure, the injury rate, the illness rate, the severity, the availability over the month. So here you can see. But here I have a question. How much is too much? It's a very important question, because what does, for example, 5.1 injury per 1,000 hour mean for that club? That's why we need a benchmark. And here is our role, which is the EFC injury and illness report. So this is our big support to the club, which help them implementing their preventive measure. For this also, we use a very professional design software, ensuring a nice report, easy to read and very simple. And for that, I would like also to thank the hospital marketing department for their continuous support. And you can see that we really collaborate together in the hospital, and we are really lucky for that. Here how it looks, the sample from what they can get. For example, they have the total injury rate, and here is the big benefit. Here is a team X, which is anonymous. Let's look at this data over the time. We start since 2017 until 2020, the last report. So for this team, if we look at their scores compared to the AFC average in 2019, we see that there is a peak here. There is a problem here. Then it's nice because they adjust. And here you can see the work behind the medical team getting their data now. They can get also injury by severity, and here we can see that their score about the severe injury costing more than 28 days is really almost double. Here there is a problem. They have to adapt. They have to implement an injury prevention plan. They can get also injury by body type, injury by body part, so they can check by body part. And here, for example, we spot the ankle injuries, which are almost a double of the AFC average benchmark, and so many other scores inside 25 pages of report. Re-injury exposure, onset, burden, availability, illnesses, and so on. The second benefit to the club is education. We offer also education with the collaboration of the AFC. We offer workshops. The first workshop was held in 2017 in Kuala Lumpur. Then the biggest, I think, event was the first Asian and European Champions League team is Doctor, and I would like to thank the management and Professor Jan Ekstrand having this done, and it helped us to have more teams with us. It's really important education. So when you see this report, the education program, the workshop, all this happy story, you would think that it's maybe easy to launch this program and to keep it running. Here, I remind you that this is Asia. And I have highlighted how big is it at the beginning of my presentation. It's very diverse and with many cultures and languages. To be honest, it wasn't easy at all, and still not easy with all the we have to change mentalities. We have to change the culture of practice. Sometimes we have to face political problems, as you know, the blockage and so on. We lost many teams, but now they are getting back. So sometimes I also remember very funny stories. We talk with people that don't speak at all English, at all. Then they find another people to translate and to find solutions. Um, Sometimes people they say, yeah, we are going to join, but it never happened. These are the teams over time. So 13 AFC clubs started in 2017, 5 more joined in 2018, 5 other in 2019, then 2 others in 2020, and we keep recruiting teams. And the last recent team is from Nepal in 2021. And here you can have a look again to the distribution of the teams on the continent. I think we could be proud, us, Aspeta, as for this nice benchmark, because our sample is really representative of the continent. And this study is also showcasing Aspeta. It's really a very good marketing way, because every single place here in the world, they know now about Aspeta. They come and they visit us. They know about the feature that we offer, about the services that we offer. And no secret, teams, they are joining because first, we offer clinical services for them. By the report, we offer education. We update our tools. We have the best tool in the world. But the most important thing also is trust, because data confidentiality is the key here. Every single detail in our database is considered like for a state secret. The second important thing is a family, because we keep talk with people and we convince them about the efficiency of this program, but also it's really a win-win and also a family team, as you can see. Now, if all this program is nice, but I think the most important also is research, but as a consequence. It's not the objective of this project. And we have published a study recently, as I mentioned by Dr. Paul, in BGSM, which is the most prestigious journal in sports medicine. And this is really important because it's supporting the Aspeta vision, which is to be a global leader in sports medicine and exercise science. The scientific rationale behind this, as you might now know, most data was collected in Europe, and there is maybe regional differences even within Europe, and these have been shown in the literature. So it's important to extend studies like that to other continents, especially that in Asia, data in injury and illness epidemiology at the professional level is really limited. So the objective of this study that we published is to investigate the injury characteristic in professional Asian football. So the study included 22 teams, leading to more than 300 months team of data over 3 years. So more than 1,100 injuries, almost 200 illnesses, and more than 230,000 hours of exposure. As I have explained, the AFC surveillance used the fuller 2006 consensus, but because at that time it was only consensus published, but recently there is the new consensus, which is the 2020. But the advantage of having professors Rothbar and Karim Shamari on board allowed us to anticipate this updated consensus, and we have been using all the almost all the features of this consensus to collect our data and also to present our data. Please follow this sticker, the red sticker, that will showcase the new features of this new IOC consensus that it has been taken into consideration in our study, even if it started way before. So for the exposure, 89, broadly 90% of the time was training, regarding injuries, 52% occurred during training, and here is the new way of presenting the data. There is no epidemiological study without missing data, without not applicable here, for example, for injury. Gradual injury, team doctor know that gradual injury, they don't know. It was in training or match. So it's important to report the non-applicable sometimes. The injury pattern, so 73% of the injuries were sudden injury. Severity, 20% of the data were very severe, which are costing more than 28 days for the team they lost. Re-injury data, we have 10% of re-injuries against 90%. However, there is no difference between the average of days lost between re-injury and index injury, which are 23 days for re-injury and 25 days for index injury. The most important injury mechanism that causes injuries, leading to injuries, that are sprinting than tackling. Here we have the missing information. If we compare now Asia to the UEFA, we have an incidence of 5.1 injury per 1,000 hour in the AFC against 7.7 injury per 1,000 hour in UEFA. Here is the new way of presenting the data. Make it easier for coaches, especially. So here we can say instead of 5.1 injury per 1,000 hour, we could say almost 4 injuries per month per team. For the burden, the UEFA was higher, 130 against 112 days per 1,000 hour, and this mainly due to the match burden, as you can see, because the training burden is equal, and this is maybe due to the fact that players in UEFA play more match exposure than AFC. So 41 hours per season per player in UEFA against only 30 hours for AFC players. Now please have a look at this most recent way of presenting the data, and I like it because it takes both at the same time, the frequency, the incidence, and the severity of the injury. So we can display the relationship between these two factors. So the darker the yellow, the more burden is, and these isoline represent an equal burden risk value, if you call it like that. So if we are here, this is a big problem. If we are here, we have a rare injury but severe. If we are here, it's it's more frequent injury, but it's mild regarding the severity of days lost. If we look at this display on our data, we can see that knee injuries, they are the most important injuries, followed by thigh. They have a 30 against 20 here of isoline, here, the value. If we compare to UEFA, it's the same distribution. They have, if it's more specific, even if it's more specific injury, we can see that hamstring injury, which are thigh injury, and ACL injury, which are knee injury. So they display on the same way, and we have the same vision about the injury severity. So if we take ACL complete tear, as you might know, is the most severe injury in elite football. Despite the layoff time, which is almost equal here about this kind of injury, we can see that the incidence of ACL in AFC is the double of the UEFA, and this need further research about this to understand the reason behind this. We also collect illnesses. So the incidence of it was 2 illnesses every month per team, if I say it like this on the new way of presenting the data. The burden was almost 2 days every month per team, and the common affected system is upper respiratory tract 42% and gastrointestinal tract 30%. So I would like to thank this very nice team, and this is the AFC team. They represent. I'm talking today on behalf of all these nice people from the AFC house, from hospital management. Even if some people they left, other they came and join us and keep joining us, and hospital management they keep supporting this team. Even if I cannot showcase everybody here, but everybody in hospital they're supporting this very important program. It's an hospital program. It's an hospital project. It's an hospital collaboration with the AFC project. And a big thanks also to the medical team and the medical staff of the AFC teams. And here I would like also to thank the NSMP teams, because if you reach this high level of expertise and experience, it's because it's thanks to our experience with them. So thank you so much for attending to this lecture, and thanks for this opportunity. It's really an honor to speak on behalf of all these lovely people, to speak about on behalf of Aspita. Thank you.